All right, welcome to this best of three series that is starring Wriggle in the Red Infernal here, opening with a vault. And his opponent is Mixu in the Blue Vanguard. And this series was played out in the Goblin Cluckfest 5 Mission from God tournament. It was held last weekend. And this particular series was not aired or was not cast by Chicken Man and Apoptosis as part of their cast, but I had the privilege of hosting this game for Mixu and Wriggle, who I believe are in Asia and Europe respectively, and needed a fair, equal playing server to play on, and being in the United States, I was able to offer that. And this series was played out in the first round of the Goblin Cluckfest 5. Goblin Cluckfest 5 had a good turnout for participants. I think there was about 20, let's say maybe like 22, 24, maybe a little more. Meaning some of the players got buys into the second round. But this was played out in the first round to see for those who did not get buys. And we do see Wriggle manages to get the scout off with his Hexen and find that Mixu's down here. But Mixu has so far only built Bobs and another command post, one Bob on Therium. And the dog here is just being annoying, and I think Mixu's maybe feeling comfortable with this sort of late barracks build. Because the dog is giving some good scouting information about, what is my opponent doing? Is my opponent rushing? And it looks like that Wriggle did open up a single vault into a shrine, into a conclave, which is, again, if the dog is able to get that good information, means that there's not likely going to be early pressure coming out of this build, and if there were, it would be late or small, and so a late barracks is probably enough to do that. We see the dog of Mixu trying to get in there and just be annoying, killing a fiend there any way it can. Dogs are quite good against fiends, especially upgraded, although I don't think this dog is upgraded. And of course, if it can go heal itself up, it can come back and be annoying again. Wriggle here, looking like, oh no, maybe heading to the speed camp. Okay, actually these fiends, I'm like, where did those fiends go? They're actually running across the map, so maybe we are going to get a little bit of pressure. And as I mentioned, it's small. It's just 4 fiends. Finding that there are 2 lancers here, and lancers are going to do a pretty good job of taking out fiends. These 3 maybe trying to go hide, while the other one is, I'm not sure, scouting. Meanwhile, Wriggle does have the brutes here, and that dog is still just being kind of annoying. Trying to get some kills maybe on those brutes, or last kills on the Shadow Masses. So Shadow Mass is getting a pretty good hit on some of the units there with their area of effect attack. That little charge attack there. Again, getting the Hexen, so the Hexen's quite low, and these Lancers show up. 2 Lancers and a dog show up to try and be annoying, and they're going to try and chase that Hexen around. That's not super efficient, as the Hexen's microing pretty good, but the Hexen does go down. And we do have the Lancers in retreat now, but this one Lancer might be sacrificed for that Hexen. So one Lancer does go down, but these Lancers try and take the speed camp. They're hesitant. They're like, am I going to be caught out of position here? And sure enough, they kind of are. And so they pull back, but do manage to get away, and the camp gets recaptured by Wriggle. Another Lancer being added. We do have a hangar bay out. Interesting to see what that's going to be about. We've got a scrapyard, another Rax, and another Rax going down. Otherwise, There we go. It looks like what we're going to have is an evac and a little bit of drop play. We have 4 Lancers here, another Lancer. Meanwhile, Wriggle is creeping this and sending 5 more Fiends around the back. It's kind of a non-standard drop. Usually you load your units into the drop ship and then you drop. But this drop is in fact going to put the units here. I'm not clear if Wriggle saw the drop ship. Of course, now he sees the drop ship. Unable to capture that, and now doing a little bit of Lancer drop micro. Guess that's a interesting new thing. And maybe trying to get past these guns. There are some shadow flyers out. Ooh, that's a big hit. Unfortunately, the Lancer's going down with that evac. And now we got a bunch of Fiends coming across the map. Mixu's gonna be in trouble. We got Medtech here. We got a couple Lancers. And it's right at an expo time, which is maybe good timing for this pressure. But it looks like it's just Fiends coming in here, and the Fiends are actually going to retreat out. Probably not enough to do damage just to those Lancers by themselves, especially with a Medtech there. And so just waiting for actually the rest of the reinforcements. We got a big ball of Brutes up there and some Gaunts. Some good micro on the Fiends to try and get a little bit of a surround or body block on the Lancers, but the Lancers are slippery and do get away. Now the Fiends are trying to take out this sentry post, but yes, we get a Lancer in the sentry post, so we now have a buzzsaw cannon doing some pretty good area of effect damage. And unfortunately, looks like Wriggle's going to want to retreat from that. I think Wriggle might have been able to do a little more damage there, but you know, fighting into a buzzsaw cannon with bobs on it is usually not the right choice. So instead, we see Wriggle just rotating around back and getting on top of these bobs. A couple of high veterancy bobs, but they're managing to retreat. A effigy going down, and now it looks like maybe this command post is going to go down too. Although a sentry post is going to be built rapidly in the back. Actually, that was not a sentry post, that was a habitat. But we do get, it looks like it was upgraded to a rampart, which can cast this spell. This is reinforced, which gives you an additional 200 armor, which is making that command post basically really, really hard to deal with, or real hard to damage. Plus, we've now got repairing bobs. But a lot of them are infested from the plague axes of Wriggle, and Wriggle has just got a big enough army here that despite that, we now see some Gravens on the map. And this is a tech switch out of Mixu. The bobs there kind of just getting in the way, but getting in the way in the good way. Okay, that they can block some of those melee units from getting to your range units. And it looks like we've got Graven play here out of Mixu. And this is definitely new. It's not been part of the meta until very recently. Trying to teleport on top, and now we see some sticky bombs going down. Those sticky bombs doing damage and slow. Also slowing attack. And look at, as you walk through it, you take that debuff. However, it does do friendly fire, as we can see that the Graven were also taking that debuff as they stepped in it. Oh, and actually, we have a drop in the back here. We have some Gaunts that were infested, and it looks like some bobs went down because we have Fiends over here. But these Fiends are dealing with the bobs on auto repair, which means they are kind of invincible. And you can see out repairing the DPS. There's some of them turn to fight and try and clean up these Fiends. And we have got Graven on top of that Harbinger, but now we have a sticky bomb going on the Gaunts. The Gaunts try and pop out and maybe spawn some Fiends. You really got to focus fire down if you want to do that, but the Graven do bonus damage to Gaunts. I think it's bonus to light. Yeah, oh wow, that's 10 damage plus 15 to light. So they were just shredding those Gaunts, and of course Fiends as well. You probably don't want to be wasting your Graven shots on a bunch of Fiends. If you're surrounded by Fiends, you're probably in trouble. But they are pretty good against Gaunts. Okay, so maybe Mixu has stabilized a little bit. from the drop and that attack, which did take out the third base, but that third base is back up and running again. What do we have here? We have a pencil crayon shooter. Yes, that's a sacrificial Bob there. Just trying to take those giant crayons straight to the face. And just marching back and forth while the Gravens leap on top, and that's just some nice play to take out an AI unit that unfortunately doesn't have the best AI yet. Maybe later it will get a little bit of an AI upgrade. Now we have Graven coming out here, and they've found some Weavers in the middle of the map. Now Weavers also being light are taking 25 damage. Even though they're tanky, that many Gravens can actually take them out pretty well. We do see this attempt for an Expo being denied by Wriggle, and now we got a battle. We're going to see how these Gravens fare. A lot of sticky bombs going down. So many sticky bombs that this army is just sitting inside the goop now. And a lot of... Ooh, a nice Nightfall Infestation going down to slow down the Graven, but the Graven leap on top of all these units. I think that's a pretty good idea, except there are Mags there. A lot of Gravens now going down. There's a Dragon up above. Now trying to get some more sticky bombs down, taking out one of those Magmadons. The Magmadons not taking bonus damage from the Graven because they are heavy, of course. So hoping that these sticky bombs can do some damage for them. The Dragon's still managing to stay alive up top, and now the Graven coming back to sit inside this med station, which is like a little healing camp. When you put a med tech inside one of your sentry posts, it becomes a little healing sphere. These sentry posts are just so useful for the Vanguard. Depending on what you put in them, you can get different kind of stuff out of them. Of course, if you want to heal up your mech units, instead you can put a Bob in there and they will become a repair turret. Now Mixu's Graven army's pushing back out, but there's a nice large force from Wriggle coming back down here. Wriggle's with a slight supply lead. That Magmadon out front is actually pretty good against the Graven. The sticky bombs causes some problem, but it's just very tanky against them. And if they have to keep forcing all their spells on the Mags, then they're not, you know, being able to focus down Gaunts or maybe the Dragon or something else. But this Graven Ball is getting large enough that it's forcing back these units, and with the sticky bombs it's really hard for those units to run away, although good micro from Wriggle to move that Magmadon away, and now we're just getting, it looks like, focus fire sticky bombs on that Mag, so it cannot escape. Some Fiends now trying to turn, and again, these sticky bombs are just slowing down these units so much that they cannot retreat back, and so many have been picked off by the Gravens along the way. Some reinforcing Gaunts are ooh, these Mags turn around. The sticky bombs, of course, getting friendly fire, slowing down, and it looks like a lot of those Graven went down, but managing to teleport out. More sticky bombs going down. Another Mag just low on life. Might be able to get picked off, but again, still pretty tanky. The Dragon up above. A lot of these Graven are low. And this stomps. Oh yeah, you just want to pick off that really low Mag. And it looks like the Graven are still going to try with some sticky bombs here. Just harassing that army. There's a lot of Hellborn in the back now. The Hellborn, of course, doing a lot of great damage, splash damage from the back. And now it looks like Wriggle's just going to turn and take out this Therium camp. Well, the Graven retreat hopefully being reinforced. Again, healing up. A lot of them were low. A lot of them went down, of course. And this force from Wriggle is starting to look kind of dangerous. The supply is a little bit of a supply lead, almost 20. But it's got a lot of high-tech units. It's got a Dragon. It's got some Hellborn. It's got some Mags. And those Mags on top, they're pushing back the Graven. Sticky bombs here, however, slowing all these units, making it hard for them to get up the ramp, which is what they want to do to harass this base. And the Mags and Fiends just kind of moving back and forth. Sticky bomb on that Mag, just trying to zone the Graven back. The Graven, kind of a good harass unit, but not so great at just... turning and fighting. You know, they don't want to get toe to toe with an army, especially one like this. They need to continue to kite back to stop those mags from getting on top of them. And that means that, you know, these 3 units here are able to do some serious damage. It looks like a Gaunt also, and a Fiend also trying to do some scouting over here. And now we got, again, another sticky bomb on these mags. And more Graven going down. The Hellborn pushing the back. Every time the Graven reveal themselves, the Hellborn are able to fire another devastating blow on them. That one Hellborn just getting pushed all over the map as the Megs go through, chewing up those Graven, and that's a GG in game 1 out of Mixu. Alright, here we are in game 2 with a Wriggle in the Red Infernal. And he took game 1 against Mixu in the Blue Vanguard, and Mixu hoping to get back in this to force a game 3. And Wriggle, if he wins, will advance into round 2. Again, this was in the Goblin Cluckfest number 5, just this last weekend. And in the first round, that was for anyone who did not have a bye. And I believe the winner of this match was slated to go up against Nina Starcraft, who got a bye because she is one of the highest ranked people on the ladder. We got some overcharged Bobs here trying to come out and build the command post, but the Hex is being annoying, saying, where do you want to build it? Right here? Well, you can't build it while I'm blocking you with my body, but they do manage to get one down, and still managing to get the use of that overcharge, at least for a bit, to hopefully speed up that building. And we do have, there's a dog here coming back to scout and maybe do the same thing back. The Imp wants to build, and oh, the Imp does manage to get it down. So this is just a good old strategy from many different games, actually, of just trying to block that Expo with a scouting unit to slow down your opponent who's trying to get that economy up in the early game. If they're rushing to put out a command post or a shrine like that. Now Mixu did, with that speedy Bobs, is able to get the command post up quicker and is now building a barrack. So command post first, kind of daring, risky econ build, but again, not a really aggressive build coming out of Wriggle either. We saw that fast shrine coming after a vault opening. The vault just to get out a brute. Brute's pretty effective to start doing some creeping, and we see a little bit of harass from that dog, but 4 of these fiends are sent to go chase that dog down. And Mixu's just, I mean, I don't have the kind of micro. Mixu's trying to out micro the fiends to get little pot shots on the fiend, although maybe a misclick there to send the dog the wrong way. Getting 1 fiend, so again, nice micro, but now that dog's pretty low, and yeah, it's looking for that cabbage, but that cabbage was already eaten by the Hexen. I think that's great. Something that you might want to do, I think the Hexen was a little injured, but even if you're low and you see that dog coming to try and get it, go and scoop it up first. Deny that healing, because now that dog's really low, so if the dog's trying to come in here, these fiends are going to chase it down, but they get lost in the woods. The dog did a nice zig and a zag, managed to get away. So the fiends come back. Lancer's here trying to get in on this. Hey, these are my creeps. Can you buzz off a bit? Maybe try and get a kill on one of these brutes. They're tanky enough that even just 2 of them can come up and kind of annoy it a bit, but they don't want to get surrounded by those fiends, so they are going to try and run back. There's a 3rd one joining now, and that's probably enough to deal with the fiends, even if they got surrounded. The fiends are low, and unfortunately get shredded away. Just delete it. I'm pretty sure Wriggle there was saying, I need to free up some supplies, so let me just sacrifice those fiends into another one. There we go. No more fiends. I don't like fiends. And this Hexen, unfortunately, now is getting surrounded or is getting chased down. Sitting in the healing camp, though, so at least getting those juices to try and keep it alive. But, oh my goodness, all the Lancers on top. And maybe Wriggle's just trying to bait a little bit. Say, chase my Hexen around, and maybe I can kill some of your Lancers. 1 Lancer going down. Another hexing the dog. Oh my goodness. But okay, so maybe that's a fair trade. Maybe not a fair trade, but it's definitely a trade. The Hexen dancing around enough to get a lot of damage on the Lancers, and I think another Lancer got chased down around back there. So ultimately, probably pretty good for Wriggle. And we're seeing a hangar bay being built now, and no sentry posts. Even though it looks like there's like a threat right on the door. Is this a sentry post? Yeah, there we get a sentry post. That should be enough to kind of push back this pressure. As throw a Lancer in there, you got a buzzsaw cannon. That's pretty dangerous. Although there are no Lancers back here, all of the Lancers moved out to take this camp. And now we're going to get pressure. There is a medtech there. Is the medtech going to jump in? Or no, we got a repair. Got a Bob in there. And we do have now a medtech jumping in there. Okay, so now that the Lancers return, that's almost as good as a buzzsaw cannon, because those Lancers can put out the DPS, and then they're just so tanky, the healing, and it's area of effect healing, that all of them will be benefiting from it. They can be really, really good inside the aura of that healing camp. Healing camp, what's it actually called? Med station. Okay. Now it looks like Wriggle's going to rotate around back. This is sort of a vulnerable part of this map here on Secluded, is your Ethereum miners in the back here can often get pushed from the other side, maybe picked off, unless you put some static B on that side as well. So far, not a lot of damage. These tanky Lancers are able to move up and take some damage and maybe get some damage done, but then they can move back and stand in that healing aura and basically heal up any of that damage taken. These Bobs keep trying to get back to work, but every time they do, the army of Wriggle keeps pushing in. A buzzsaw cannon now pushing them back, and maybe that might end the pressure. Two Gaunts here. Darkness. Coming a strange way around, but managing to survive. Aiming for that evac, but not managing to get it. Now we've got a Stompy Boy Magma joining the group. Could take out those trees if he wants to maneuver a little bit easier there. And now we have an evac coming across the map. Keep an eye on that, because this army is going to try and do some more pressure. The evac's going to run into some shadow flyers. Oh, no, 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 no. And again, there's some pressure here. Ooh, one shadow flyer, and oh, putting a shield on the evac to keep it alive. Also with the reinforce on the medical station, the med station. And the evac picking up those Lancers, but unfortunately getting taken out with all those Lancers inside. Those Lancers, another sort of huge blow, losing that evac. Those Lancers have been kept alive for almost the whole game, but now we have the tech switch happening. There are some Graven out on the map. You can put Graven in there. Is this a Graven post? Yeah, the Graven post will be invisible, and then they will shoot out these sticky bombs automatically. Which can be pretty beneficial, because otherwise I think the sticky bombs take energy, and actually it might still take energy, I'm not certain about that, but they take energy and come on a cooldown, so the turret can just do it for you. Alright, a bunch of Fiends trying to get down on top of this Lancer, a sticky bomb going down on that Gaunt, the Gaunt retreating to make sure that it doesn't do any damage to the rest of the units, and now these units moving this way to maybe find there's a whole bunch of Bobs here. What are these Bobs doing? Those Bobs retreated and just went too far off map, and unfortunately being taken out with, or slowed down with, a Nightfall infestation, are now being chased down by Fiends and Brutes. And some Graven try and come in the back, but they're actually pushed back by these Magmadons, and now there's a Vulcan here. Vulcan can be pretty good against these Fiends and other units, but I think they're still just being outnumbered. But once they're in the safety of that med station's aura, they become a bigger threat. And well, we now see 3 mags and a nice little supporting army for them. A continuous flock of shadow flyers being added to take out any evacs. Ooh, those fiends just getting shredded. We're seeing that bonus damage coming from all these units here are really good against fiends and gaunts. Not quite as good against the mags, though. It's those mags that are going to be the ones that are hard for this composition from Mixu. We get effigy taken out, another sticky bomb going down. And ooh, unfortunately, that one hitting large on Wriggle's units. A lot of them with the debuff right now. And a Nightfall Infestation, which is sort of the counter, trying to shoot some area of effect back. And now we got a little bit of a split from Wriggle to try and get more of a surround, but just a retreat from Mixu. Pulling back again into the healing aura, we got a second Vulcan added. This Magmadon being focused with a sticky bomb, trying to be taken out. It's going to go down. Yeah, but at the cost of a Graven. Actually, it didn't go down. It did manage to get some white health to stay alive. We get a summon Shroudstone now, as there's a Shroudstone from behind. That's going to make a nice aggressive forward position for Wriggle to attack from and retreat 2 on this Shroud, managing to re-heal that white health. We see that helping out that mag there, just trying to keep it alive a little bit longer. These mags just keep trying to threaten every time they move forward, getting hit with a sticky bomb. And having to retreat. This one mag saying, I'll try it, but stomping or trampling his way back. A Gaunt going down. So far, the Graven and the Vulcan mix has been successful at pushing this composition back. We're seeing it being whittled away. Other than the mags, we just keep getting more mags being added. So the Brutes and the Gaunts are what are going down. Looks like we're going to get an aggressive sentry post or a forward sentry post here. It's a repair post, which will be helpful for this Vulcan. The Vulcan can do some taking. And we've got the Graven now, so we basically have 2 healing posts. Although we now got a full push from these mags. They're moving right on top of the units. They're actually getting into the healing aura. The Ravens are just trying to turn and fight, using a little bit of blink micro to try and blink them back and keep them alive. But the mags, there's just a lot of them here. They're so slow. So slow. All the Gravens blinking back, turning invisible. Their Weaver, of course, is a detector, so as long as the Weaver's there. And now they're actually managing to push forward, and they take out a single Shroudstone as these Magmadons were pushed back. But again, caught in the sticky bombs, stomping around and being pretty... Their use being pretty much nullified by those sticky bombs. So one of those Shroudstones was taken out, but there's still these ones here. Oh, and another Manifest Shroudstone right on top of those Graven, and a lot of Graven going down. They're trying to get out from this, under this contain. We see an interesting battle for this down here between the workers. Mixu just needs to get out and be able to get out on the map and break the contain, and then maybe get some of these expansions up and running. It looks like this one back here has got up and running, but there's now a scout from a fiend. So it seems like no matter what Mixu's doing here, it keeps getting denied. This forward turret turned into the healing turret now. And it looks like Graven's here with the infiltrate. But there was a cancel, so unfortunately not getting as much damage as I'd hope, but still getting a deny. Some sticky bombs going down, some micro on the Vulcan and the Gravens. Unfortunately, that's a little bit of anti-micro on the Vulcan. And Hellborn added now. Hellborn are actually going to be dangerous, as they're going to be able to put some pressure down onto this fortified position. There has been a buzzsaw cannon added, but the med station is just being targeted down, and that ambush post gets taken out. The Raven's trying to move forward, but the Magmadon stomp trample, forcing them to blink back. Again, they push forward. Some sticky bombs going down on the back there. A few of them trying to use the invisibility to sneak forward and snipe a Hellborn. One Hellborn goes down, but these Megalodons again turning forward and pushing them back. The Megalodons, of course, soaking up some of that Shroud skin on the Shroud, making them a little bit harder to deal with. And every time they turn and trample like that, one Megalodon going down. Actually, this Vulcan doing a lot of work there. Very low, so it's retreating. Sticky bombs going down on the Megs again. And another Manifest Shroudstone. So this is a really hard push out of out of Wriggle and Mixu. Unfortunately, the healing cannon going down, but another one going up there. And these Mags keep pushing forward and back, regenerating that Shroud skin, and now getting on top of that healing med tower. We've got a repair tower now also being swapped out for a med station. And these Hellborn just moving forward. This high sort of tier 2 tech out of Wriggle is actually doing really good. The Megs are just, with their heavy armor, they're hard for these Graven to take out. And then the Hellborn can sit in the back and just rain down fire on top of the Gravens and on top of the Static D. This is unfortunate for Mixu, but there's just a slow push from Wriggle as these Shroud Stones and units get pushed forward. Again, we get another Graven Ball moving forward, but a nice trample getting some stuns down, but then a nice blink out as well. Mixu doing a really good job of keeping as many of these Graven alive as possible with the micro. But again, just a rough composition to deal with. Another sticky bomb. And more teleports back. One of those Megs moved in the back is the weak one, although maybe gonna get taken out here with a sticky bomb. Yeah. So actually 2 Megs going down there. And this could be a good opportunity. Another Meg going down, but it looks like more reinforcement Megs. These reinforcing Megs coming from a very interesting direction. I'm not sure how they decided to march their way that way, but they did. Maybe those were intentional flanking Megs. And 4 Hellborn now, almost taking out that med station, and it goes down. A couple Hedgehogs being added. Probably just lower cost units to be built out of that mech bay now, as Wriggle's push is really strong, and Mixu's pulling the bobs, trying the last ditch. Molten Touch now coming down from these Hellborn. That's not what you want to see. Lots of sticky bombs there, slowing them down, slowing down that attack speed, but that's going to be a GG out of Mixu, ending this best of 3.